Viltrox are doing it again. They have just released two new lenses from the Air series. These are from the more affordable, small and light series. These are full frame 14mm f4 and 9mm f2.8 APS-C. So pretty much the same lens in the two different variations. Both of these lenses are available right now for Sony E-mount cameras, and they're coming next month in October 2025. They're coming for Nikon Z, and hopefully we're all hoping that these Air series, all of them, will be coming in the future to Lumix L-mount. Viltrox have joined the L-mount alliance. They have announced it publicly now, and there'll be some lenses coming later this year, which I will be definitely covering on this channel. I'm gonna here primarily talk about the 14mm. This is the one I have tested on a full frame camera, and I'm gonna tell you why this could be alternatively good option or a perfect option if you do shoot with an APS-C camera. So let's do this. I personally love wide angle lenses. If I wanted wide angle, I had to go with a heavy lens because they were always big and heavy. Very often they had also curved front elements, so you couldn't put the filters on. Here Viltrox have done some magic because this is 14mm ultra wide angle, but it is only this small. Lens like this is perfect for landscape. That's kind of obvious, but also architecture, street photography, even wide-angle portrait if you know what you're doing. Great lens to just have on your camera and with you when you want that wide-angle field of view. I must say that for me personally, shooting wide-angle, it's more versatile than any other focal length. It's easier to capture the world, although it is not as you see it because everything is a bit bigger on the pictures, but it's easier to capture great images without even thinking about it. At this size, at 14mm, there is no other lens like this on the market right now. Also, the f4 aperture is really not important. I do have other lenses, Viltrox 16mm f1.8, which is huge comparing to this. I have used other wide-angle lenses with wider apertures, but usually when I shoot landscape or architecture or just the general stuff, I usually close the aperture anyway. f4 is not a problem here at all. Unless you do some specialist night photography, maybe not ideal for astrophotography, but for everything else, not only you can compensate with the high ISO settings in most of current cameras, but also you can clean the digital noise in post-production very easily these days as well. Performance, exceptionally sharp lens. This is actually on par with more expensive counterparts, definitely delivers beautifully looking contrast and colors. If you didn't know, you'd be very hard to guess that these pictures you are looking at now have been taken with the lens this cheap. As I said before, the wide angle like this is super easy to use, easy to capture the environment, the landscape, architecture, etc. Easier because you don't have to worry about the focusing, blurred backgrounds as much and all that. Just like with most of wide-angle lenses, you can focus really, really close. With this, minimum focusing distance is 13 centimeters, just 13 centimeters. That allows you to get really, really close to your subject and create a bit unusual or different looking close-up photography or videography. There is some chromatic aberration, very small. Viltrox always have this very well under control. There's literally no vignetting, but flaring is actually very interesting. It's not perfect, it does something unusual and different. These streaks, the light streaks and the flares looking different, and different makes the pictures looking more interesting in my opinion. The flaring can help to enhance the photos, not just destroy them like with some other lenses. Autofocus works pretty well in photography and video. There's no really any major issues. The autofocusing system here is not like you would get with a $1,000 lens, but it works pretty well in everyday usage. This focal length as well suits itself perfectly for filming. Filming something like vlogging when you want to show a lot of your surrounding and you in the shot. Also gimbal work when you want to enhance the motion, and the size of the lens makes it very suitable for using even smaller gimbal with a smaller camera. I like it for vlogging because it makes the camera, the whole setup, much lighter when you have to hold the camera in your hand when filming yourself. The 9mm is optically, every sample I've shot with both of these lenses is identical. This is identical lens. What have they done here? They basically by reducing the coverage of sensor so it doesn't cover the full frame, they could have opened the aperture wider. So if you are using APS-C Sony camera, or in the future Nikon, this 9mm is equivalent to a 13.5mm on the full frame, pretty much the same as this. The aperture f2.8 allows you more lighting, so it's a bit more versatile in the lower lighting conditions. But if you only shoot the video on a full frame camera, you don't bother about the photography, just the video, the 9mm actually is a better choice. Not only wide aperture, but marginally wider 13.5mm full frame equivalent at f2.8. Built, these lenses are pretty much identical. Both are the same size and the same weight, roughly. 14mm is 170 gram and 9mm is 175. The cost exactly the same, $199 or 190 pounds here in UK. Very affordable wide angle primes. Viltrox say they weather sealed, but there is no gasket around the lens, so I don't think they are fully weather sealed, but they got some protection against splashes, I guess, so the water shouldn't get internally into the lens, hopefully anyway. There's also water and dirt resistant coating on the glass in front. The focus ring, just like with other ones, there's some plastic on plastic rubbing, nothing major, or apart from that, nicely dampened. The back of the lens has got a USB-C socket for connecting into a computer for updating future firmware updates, and the filter thread is very affordable, 58mm. This is another lens in the series which is absolutely outstanding in what it can deliver quality-wise. Not disappointing at all, and I highly recommend 14 f4 for the full frame if you're not bothered about the low light performance. If you shoot only video on the full frame cameras, the 9mm 13.5 equivalent f2.8. If you use APS-C camera, this is no-brainer. Go for f2.8 one. At this price, they both a steal, and I highly recommend them. And this is it from me. I hope this video was in some way informative. If it was, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.